Guardians of the Galaxy is a free Prime gaming title. In November 24, this extraordinary adventure sees you step into the jet boots of Star-Lord, leading a ragtag group of intergalactic misfits on a cosmic adventure. You'll navigate through vibrant alien worlds, engaging in fast-paced combat that combines Star-Lord's element blasters with the unique abilities of your AI-controlled teammates. The game emphasizes decision-making, allowing you to shape the story and your relationships with the other Guardians through dialogue choices and deciding which team member to take with you into battle. Featuring a killer soundtrack full of ADS hits and humorous writing, the game captures the essence of the franchise perfectly. Whether you're battling alien threats, solving environmental puzzles, or simply bantering with your crew aboard the Milano, the game delivers an entertaining and immersive space opera experience. That's the second Tango Gameworks title on our lineup. People were hyped for the project after seeing the first Ghostwire Tokyo trailer. It was a totally new IP with graphics that were colorful in the best way possible. However, polished looks and originality weren't enough to justify the purchase of the $60 game that wasn't received too warmly by critics and players. The price can genuinely change the perspective and overall perception. After receiving such an expensive title as a part of the subscription bonus, shortcomings like dull combat and grindy exploration fade into the background. It's not a perfect single-pillar adventure, but if you love the idea of walking down the deserted streets of Tokyo and love stories about Japanese ghosts and demons, Ghostwire is one of the best Prime Gaming free games for you. In Mafia Definitive Edition, you step into the shoes of Tommy Angelo, a taxi driver turned mobster in the fictional city of Lost Heaven during the 1930s. This ground-up remake of the 2002 classic immerses you in a richly detailed open world where you'll navigate the rise and fall of the Salieri crime family. The game blends intense third-person shooting with period-accurate driving, allowing you to engage in thrilling gunfights and high-speed chases through the bustling city streets. You'll experience an expanded narrative with new dialogue and cutscenes, adding depth to the compelling characters and their story. With updated gameplay mechanics, enhanced graphics, and a remastered soundtrack, Mafia Definitive Edition offers both nostalgia for fans of the original and a fresh experience for newcomers. Not gonna lie, the Bioshock franchise is one of my all-time favorite series, and for good reason. Smart, engaging gameplay, an unforgettable atmosphere, fantastic, though now slightly dated visuals, and a gripping story full of plot twists. So, when Irrational Games announced Bioshock Infinite, trading the deep-sea horrors of Rapture for the skies above, I was instantly hooked. This time, players follow Booker DeWitt, a private investigator tasked with finding a missing girl named Elizabeth. His search takes him to Columbia, a floating state-of-the-art city that claims to be a utopia for true American patriots. Of course, the second I arrived, it became clear that this so-called paradise was just a facade. And once I found Elizabeth and her terrifying guardian, all hell broke loose, leaving me no choice but to fight my way out. It's the kind of chaos I thoroughly enjoyed, right up to that unforgettable, mind-bending ending. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor sees you play as Talion, a Gondorian ranger whose entire family, including Talion, is killed by Sauron's forces. Resurrected and bonded with the wraith of the elf lord Celebrimbor, you embark on a quest for vengeance across the unforgiving lands of Mordor. Famous for introducing the innovative Nemesis system, where your interactions with Uruk enemies create unique, personalized foes who remember and adapt to your encounters, you'll utilize a combination of stealth, ranged attacks, and brutal melee combat to dominate your adversaries. And the power of Celebrimbor's Wraith allows you to manipulate and control the minds of your enemies too. This Game of the Year edition, given away as a Prime Gaming freebie in September 24, enhances your experience with additional content including the Lord of the Hunt and the Bright Lord story expansions, as well as various skins and runes to customize your gameplay. This underappreciated IP from Arcane Studios has to be one of the most interesting action shooters on the list of games with Prime. Despite some bugs, Deathloop stands out as a solid AAA title with top-notch graphics, satisfying gunplay, an engaging story, and a groovy soundtrack. To some, gameplay may seem repetitive, but it's a signature feature of the concept that others may find unique. After waking up on the beach on the island of Black Reef, you quickly realize that the protagonist is stuck in a time loop that resets each time you die or at the end of the day. The only way to break it and escape is to kill every single visionary. Having a near-perfect run is a tough task that will require learning from mistakes, as well as chasing leads that can help you speed up the process. Fans of indies were particularly excited to see this absolute gem among free PC games in 2025. Packed with mysteries and surprising plot twists to discover, it's a treat for wannabe investigators who love gathering clues and interrogating NPCs. The introduction of the Forgotten City is informative about its unique setting, but interesting at the same time. From the get-go, your attention is grasped by the setting of a cursed Roman city that lives by a golden rule. If one citizen sins, everyone must be punished. Your task is to determine who of 20 people is about to break the golden rule and prevent it. While playing through this time-traveling detective game, you're free to roam around, analyze found objects, and talk with other characters. If you don't manage to put the pieces together by a deadline, you'll travel back in time to the start of the game with all the information gathered from the previous run. If you've been religiously claiming Prime Gaming free games and craving for a genuinely spooky title, check your GAG library. You might already have The Evil Within 2 there. Back in 2077, Tango Gameworks did a splendid job of combining top-notch horror with the open world. A good number of side quests and Sebastian Castellanos' emotional main story keep you hooked for the entirety of the game as you explore the streets of the monster-infested town. The fact that the sequel is less linear and grants more freedom leads to plenty of hair-raising moments. When you're just trying to check the newly discovered area, it might greet you with a sudden jump scare when you least expect it. Dishonored 2 has to be one of the best free games for Prime members to try out if immersive and intricate world building is your cup of tea. Despite being set in the beautifully crafted coastal city of Karnaca, the story is filled with oppression, magic, decay, and a fight for power. Delilah Copperspoon usurps the throne and leaves the fate of Isles hanging in the balance. Players get to pick the protagonist who's going to restore order. Corvo Attano, the royal bodyguard, or Emily Caldwin, the rightful heir. Each has a unique set of skills and a plot line, so each run feels different. No way we're getting Larian Studios' bestseller anytime soon. However, the previous two installments, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, were given away for free. Sure, they're not as technically advanced, but they still share plenty of features with Baldur's Gate 3, such as a focus on exploration, the importance of tactical combat, and a plethora of moral and plot-altering decisions, just with retro graphics and from an isometric viewpoint. Both entries share very similar gameplay and aesthetics. After creating your character and choosing the class, your stats, abilities, and weapons will be altered, determining your playstyle. These two classics are a must-grey for those who want to pay homage to genre-defining RPGs. An alternate history is not a totally new setting for fictional stories, and the scenario of the Axis powers prevailing over the Allies is nothing new. However, the way it was handled in the 5th installment of the Wolfenstein series is exceptional. Everything from the terrific soundtrack and setting portrayal to memorable characters and witty dialogues creates an atmosphere that's appalling yet intriguing. It's a perfect base for an engrossing campaign about resistance. Take on the role of William Joseph Blaskowitz and fight Nazis using various approaches. The game offers both stealth missions as well as dynamic shootouts. No wonder people were excited to see that Wolfenstein: The New Order GOG key was up for grabs. A young priestess named Lily awakens in a once prosperous kingdom, now drowned in ruin by a mysterious rain that twists all it touches into shambling undead. Strangely immune to the cursed downpour, Lily sets out to uncover the dark truth behind her homeland's fall. And so begins Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights, a haunting blend of Metroidvania exploration and Souls-like atmosphere. What unfolds is a familiar journey through sprawling biomes, punishing boss battles, and of course soul collection. But here, Ender Lilies adds a clever twist that I absolutely loved. You see, Lily doesn't wield weapons in the traditional sense. Instead, she purifies the souls of fallen warriors and calls upon their spirits to fight for her. After all, why pick up a sword when you can summon the dead guy who wielded it? It's a beautifully grim mechanic that adds depth and flavor to the experience. The beautiful game of football is so much more than meets the eye. Leading a football club to its success involves plenty of planning and strategic decisions. If you prefer cold calculations to spectacular FIFA matches, then you are glad to receive Football Manager 2023, among other free PC games for Amazon Prime members. With great power comes great responsibility, so prepare to keep tabs on every single aspect: scouting, training, transfers, staff, tactics, and so much more. Everything that even remotely affects the success of your club can be adjusted to your liking. Who could have thought that a mega corporation cooperating with a major game developer could lead to something truly amazing? Of course, we're not just talking about the Amazon TV series that deserved way more Emmy Awards last year. Pretty much the entire Fallout series was gifted to Prime users, except for the fourth mainline installment. Therefore, you can get a proper taste of its unique atom-punk, retro-futuristic atmosphere. Enjoy everything from classic isometric titles to action RPGs with open worlds to see how Fallout has changed over the decades. Only one thing never changes: war never changes. In Loop Hero, you find yourself in a world filled with darkness. Your mission is to restore it by guiding a hero on a looping journey in classic roguelike fashion. As the hero traverses procedurally generated paths, you'll strategically place cards that represent terrain and structures which have an influence on the challenges and resources you encounter along the way. Pretty clever, eh? The gameplay combines elements of roguelikes, deck building, and idle mechanics, allowing you to craft your environment while managing your hero's equipment and health. Each loop increases enemy difficulty, requiring you to carefully plan how and what resources to gather and build up your camp for future expeditions. With its unique blend of strategy and exploration, Loop Hero offers a captivating experience that puts experimentation and adaptation front and center. In Kerbal Space Program, you take charge of a space program run by the quirky Kerbals, a race of green humanoids. Your mission is to build and manage spacecraft, exploring a scaled-down version of the solar system filled with unique planets and moons. The game features 3 modes: Science Mode, where you conduct experiments to unlock new technologies; Career Mode, which requires you to manage resources, funding, and upgrades; and Sandbox Mode, allowing for limitless creativity in spacecraft design. With realistic aerodynamic and orbital physics, every launch presents both challenges and opportunities for experimentation. I thought I'd seen it all after playing Subnautica, the kind of game that proves swimming can be downright terrifying. But fishing from a tiny, charming boat? That couldn't possibly stir up fear, anxiety, or existential dread, right? Then I played Dredge. Let me tell you, being a fisherman can be relaxing until night falls, a hooded stranger starts asking me for cursed relics, and my cozy little trawler becomes a glowing beacon for horrors best left buried beneath the wave. That's Dredge in a nutshell. Part tranquil fishing and exploration sim by day, part psychological horror by night. During daylight hours, I genuinely enjoyed the eerie serenity upgrading my boat and the satisfying loop of its simple fishing mechanics. But when the sun dipped below the horizon, it was a different story. With sweaty palms, I dodged phantom rocks, unholy lights, and nightmarish sea creatures desperately steering toward the harbor before my sanity slipped away and the abyss claimed me. While this list features plenty of stellar games, few can match the legendary status of Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition. Set in a grim cyberpunk future ruled by nanotechnology and shadowy megacorporations, Deus Ex isn't just a cult classic, it's a cornerstone of the immersive sim genre and a fountain of unforgettable and often hilarious memes. Even after 2 decades, I still vividly remember my clumsy first steps on the Liberty Island mission, usually ending in a bullet-riddled disaster at the hands of NSF guards. But with every retry, I learned something new. A hidden vent, a password to that one locked door, a new solution. That constant sense of discovery is what made me fall in love with this game despite its flaws. Because, let's be honest, time hasn't been kind to every part of Deus Ex. The graphics often look like someone forgot to load the HD textures, character models resemble wooden mannequins, and the gunplay feels more like an afterthought than a feature.